This is the life. No. Their refund was supposed to go through 2 months ago. They still haven't seen anything. So yes, if you could please check on that. Okay, thank you. And they hung up. 2 hours on hold, and they've hung up. And this person has 3 minutes until the final payment's due, and they still haven't sent it yet.
He's a TA and he's gonna talk. Let's join Matt for today's TA Talk.
Hey, happy travelers, and welcome back into the home office for this installment of the TA Talk. Now, a lot of people are always asking me about becoming a travel agent, saying it sounds like something they would love to do. They're really interested in how they do that. I'm here to tell you today a few of the most common misconceptions about being a travel agent that you would probably want to consider if you're thinking about becoming one, or just to give you some general insight into what it's like in the day-to-day life of working as a travel agent. Now, the first big misconception when it comes to becoming a travel agent or working as a travel agent is that you are always on vacation. We have people say that all the time. I get emails or people texting or when they call us on the phone, "Oh, you're always on vacation. I saw you were on vacation again. You answered the phone. I'm surprised you're not on vacation right now." And the truth is, we're hardly ever on vacation. I get the misconception. What we do for work is what you do for vacation, what you do for fun, and those two things get juxtaposed. But honestly, when we're on a cruise ship, we're filming. When we're at an all-inclusive resort, we're filming, and that's very different than actually just going and enjoying a vacation. But beyond that, the work as a travel agent doesn't stop. It's an around-the-clock thing. It's, I don't want to say 24/7, but it's pretty much 7 days a week and almost 365 days a year. You'll always have people calling, you'll always have people texting, emailing, different things that need to be handled. So I've said it before, I'll say it again. In this job, I've worked longer, harder, more often than I ever have at any other job. And I'm sure anyone who owns their own business can attest to that same feeling. When you are a business owner, regardless of what the business is, you will be working around the clock. You will be working often. You will constantly be stressing and thinking about things that need to be done, far from being on vacation all the time. In fact, for those people who say they want to become a travel agent and they think that that's part of it, I would advise that you don't even look at it like that. Think instead of becoming a travel agent like you're starting any other business. Like I said, any other business owner would be able to attest that they are constantly have the cogs turning in their head. They're constantly stressing about their job. They're constantly thinking about how to grow their business. And it's no different when you're a travel agent. Yes, we do get to take trips. Yes, we do get to go experience different destinations, different cruise ships, different resorts, but that's all part of the working job. It's a fun job, but it is still a job nonetheless. So especially when you own your own business with a travel agent, you are far from on vacation all the time. You actually work more often than you would if you just had a standard job, at least in my experience. So something to keep in mind there, you will actually be putting in a ton of effort, a ton of hours if you want to be successful at this. So far from on vacation all the time. The second misconception that people have about being a travel agent is that means that you are a travel planner. I hear people say that all the time, especially when they're talking about becoming a travel agent themselves. I love to plan. I love to plan my family's trips. I love to plan my friends' trips. I get their whole Disney World itinerary all figured out. We figure out which cruise ship and what excursion we're going to do this day. Listen, that's all great. That means you're passionate, and that is an important part of the job. But in reality, it's actually a very small part of being a travel agent is being a travel planner. I would say 10% or less of what we do actually involves planning a client's vacation for them. Most of what you end up doing would fall under other job titles such as manager, supervisor, reminder, debt collector, things like that. That is actually what we expend the most effort on, is keeping up with, of course, all the ins and outs of owning a business, keeping up with your tasks, making sure you're growing your business, becoming an advertiser. Maybe that means becoming a content creator. However you're going to be going about that to grow your business, to get new clients. You're going to be managing those clients and their reservations. When an issue comes up and something needs to be changed, you're the one who's going to be doing that. When they have a question, you're the one who's going to be answering it. The rule of thumb, good way to think about it, is that when you work as a travel agent, you're doing all the stuff that you wouldn't want to do for your own trip. So all the fun stuff like excursions and the features of this ship, that's a very small part of the job. But things like waiting on hold for 2 hours for the cruise line to fix something, or chasing down a future cruise credit, trying to get a refund, urging someone to make their final payment before their booking gets canceled, that's actually what you will be doing the majority of the time. So keep that in mind when you think about being a travel agent. No, plan, fun. A little. Most of it is actually pretty mundane or can be quite grating tasks that you would do in other jobs. So you're going to be wearing a lot of different hats when you're working as a travel agent. The number 3 common misconception with being a travel agent is that pay is instant and consistent. And that's a misconception because it is neither of those things. Quite the opposite, in fact. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, pay as a travel agent typically is commission-based, purely. We do not receive a salary. We do not receive an hourly wage of any kind. We don't receive benefits either, no. So you got to pay for all that stuff, insurance, all those different things. So you get paid via commission on what you book for your clients. And it's not going to be a commission on the whole thing. It might just be on the commissionable cruise fare portion for a cruise, not on taxes and fees, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. But you will get paid not when the client books that. And that's where the instant part comes in. Just because when you're starting your business out, you just got a new client and they book something, that's fantastic. But you're not going to see that money until they actually go on the trip. So if someone books something 2 years in advance, that's when you will get paid for it as a travel agent, provided that they actually go on that trip. And that is where the consistent part comes into play, because if they were to cancel that cruise or cancel that all-inclusive resort stay, you would not get paid commission for the most part. There are a couple of exceptions, but for the most part, you will not get paid for that. Anytime that you're doing work and you're just pricing things out or providing information, answering questions, and those people do not book with you, or they just end up not booking altogether, you just did a bunch of work for free. You are not getting paid for that in any sort of way. And also keep in mind that when you're starting out as a travel agent and you're starting your business, you're gaining new clients, it is very difficult to do that. There are a lot of barriers of entry, that's what I call it, for people using a travel agent. They think they're gonna have to pay for it. They think that they're gonna lose all control. They think that they can't trust you. You're not gonna be responsive enough, and you have to prove otherwise. And that can be a lengthy task. It can take quite a long time to do that. So that will affect your pay as well. Again, the instant and the consistent part of that will be affected by those clients not coming on board right away, taking time, months and months, years and years more in actuality, to build your client base, and then actually having those clients depart on their vacations, on their travel, so that you can be compensated accordingly. So pay, if you're looking for consistency, if you're looking for efficient, fast pay, being a travel agent, not for you. A very big misconception. And while all 3 of those things that I just talked about are common misconceptions, by far the biggest one has to be number 4, which is the fact that people think that when you're a travel agent, you get free travel. That is a little bit true, or it can be. You, of course, can get free travel working as a travel agent, but when that happens, that means that you are doing sales numbers in such a volume that that cruise line or that all-inclusive resort wants you there. When they open up something, when they debut a new ship, whatever it is, they want you to see it because they know you are going to generate sales for it. That takes years and years to build up to those levels to catch their attention. The other side of it is if you happen to be working as a content creator, or you're doing social media to advertise your travel agency, and you build a big enough following that you are getting their attention to where you start getting invited to events and stuff. But again, that takes time to build up that fan base, that following, to get to those numbers. So aside from that, it's very, very rare that you actually get free travel. There are exceptions to, like, some vendors. If you complete their training, take Disney for example, if you complete their training, you can get a 1-day ticket to Walt Disney World or a 1-day ticket to Disneyland. A lot of other cruise lines, if you complete their training, you could get a free cruise. More likely is a discounted cruise. That's how Disney does it. You can get discounted cruises if they're available. That's something to keep in mind. Also, when you get a free cruise, that's why I keep doing the air quotes, it's usually not completely free. You usually have to pay for taxes and fees. You still have to pay for gratuities, any extras. A lot of time you have to pay for your flights or your transportation to wherever that travel is taking place. So the idea that you're going to be traveling for free all the time is a complete misnomer. The idea that you're going to have hugely discounted travel all the time is also a complete misnomer. Most of the travel that you see us doing, we paid full price for it, just like you would. Now that we've grown our business and we've grown our YouTube following, yes, there are events that we get invited to or things that we get invited to that we do not necessarily have to pay for or pay for in full. But again, that takes a long time to get up to those numbers to where you're having that happen. Otherwise, you end up paying for it yourself out of pocket. And what you end up paying for to do these things, if you're going to advertise via social media, via filming or taking pictures, you're going to write a blog about your travels, or you're just trying to get firsthand experience to share with your clients, what you end up paying for that will far outweigh any kind of discounted or free travel that you might eventually get. So in actuality, you probably end up paying a lot more for travel than most other people would, because it is your business and you do have to do it for work, or you have to do it to film it or show it or whatever it may be. But it's certainly not free, certainly not always discounted, not all the time, and not nearly as much as people think. Well, there you have it, friends. Those are the most common misconceptions that I read or see or hear from people about being a travel agent, working as a travel agent. And again, people are always asking me, how do you become a travel agent? It's a little bit more difficult of a question to answer, but I did want to give these insights of those misconceptions, some things you might want to think about if you're considering becoming a travel agent, or just general insight for those who are watching who might be curious about how this all works. That is part of what the TA Talk is. So this is where normally in the TA Talk we will have Spider-Man Potato Head swing in with the weekly mailbag. However, running a little bit empty on the questions. We are working on reloading Potato Head Spider-Man, and we have started getting some questions from you, so we thank you for that. But we do kindly ask that you please continue to send questions for me to answer in the weekly mailbag. And also, if you have any suggestions for future topics of future TA Talk videos, we would love to hear those as well. So please feel free to leave a comment with your questions, your inquiries, or your future video topic suggestions. So with that said, I'll remind you as always that we are travel agents. Our services are completely free to you. We never charge any fees or costs whatsoever, and your price will not increase by a single cent more booking with us than it would be direct on your own. So feel free to reach out via that travel agent information you can find in the description of this video. If you've recently booked your cruise or all-inclusive resort stay, you may be able to transfer it to our agency. That's also free of charge, and we'd be able to assist you the rest of the way. So either way, we hope we will hear from you soon. Once again, I want to thank you for joining me for today's video. We will see you in the next installment of the TA Talk. But until then, I'm signing off. Happy travel.